So. If you could all stand for the pledge and prayer. I'm not gonna say the rest of that.
Did you join me in the pledge?
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Victor, can you lead us in prayer, please?
Mighty God in heaven, we thank you for this beautiful evening. You've allowed us to gather together in a quorum. Thank you for everybody in the audience. We thank you for everything that you're doing in the city of Monte Vista. We ask for your protection. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Need a roll call?
Counselor Howard,
Here.
Counselor Watson,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Here.
Mayor Becker.
Here.
Counselor Lorenz is absent and excused for this evening. The quorum is declared.
Okay, do we have any modifications to the agenda?
Yes, sir, we do have one modification to the agenda. We will be removing G2A, and that will be discussed during the Public Works Director's report.
Motion to remove GA from the agenda.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to remove G2A off the agenda. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard.
Yes.
Counselor Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carried to modify the agenda, removing G2A.
All right, approval of consent agenda, and it's a regular meeting from May 15th, 2025, and approval of accounts payable.
Motion to approve the consent agenda and the minutes of regular meeting from May 15, 2025, and the review of approval of accounts payable.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda for the minutes of regular meeting from May 15th, 2025, and approval of accounts payable. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard.
Yes.
Counselor Watson.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we will move on to proclamations, communications, and appointments. Recognition of years of service. HR Director Shannon Griffin.
Thank you. So I'm here this evening to recognize 3 of the city's employees for their years of service. Irene Ariano has been here for 40 years. Antonio Felix has been here for 20 years, and Dylan Golden with the police department has been here for 10 years. And I'm going to let their directors come up and give them certificates and a bonus check.
So Irene and Dylan, you guys want to go through? We'll start with Irene. Irene Ariano is celebrating an incredible 40 years of service as the PD's records and evidence manager. Irene is known as the backbone of the police department. Her meticulous work and unwavering commitment has ensured the integrity of vital processes and supported every level of police operations. Irene's contributions to the city has made a lasting impact to the community we serve. And Officer Dylan Golden is being recognized for 10 years of dedicated service as a police officer with the Monte Vista Police Department. Dylan's commitment to public safety, professionalism, and service to the residents of Monte Vista continues to make a positive and lasting impact. Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yep. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Irene doesn't want her picture in the newspaper.
Sure.
Sorry.
So maybe we can get one of just Tyler and Dylan. Okay, and then we'll just talk about Irene.
Tyler, Dylan, can I get one of this?
Or Dylan, do you mind if your picture's in the newspaper? Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Who's Jason?
Good color coordinated today. Robin and Jason.
You find it? Take me a while to coordinate that. Thank you, council. First, I'd like to thank Shannon for re-engaging this process. I think it's really important that we appreciate the years of service our employees put in. All of them, whether it's police officers, public works employees, office staff, everybody works hard. And it's really nice to recognize the years of service they put in. I mean, things like Irene, 40 years, that's an incredible amount of time. Most people can't say anywhere close to that. So that is an incredible accomplishment. The gentleman that I'm gonna bring up has a similar thing that is very rare in today's society, 20 years of service, of dedicated service. Antonio Felix, if you'll come up, I'd like to, he should have received this recognition a while back, but I'm really proud that we get to do it in front of him now. Tony is our lead utility operator. He's been doing this for a long time. He was one of the individuals that kind of helped me when I first started here with the city back in 2012. He was one of the individuals that took me out and showed me the water and sewer systems and just kind of explained how things work within the city. So I appreciate Tony and everything he did. So I'd like to present to Antonio Felix for 20 years of dedicated service to the city of Monte Vista, countless evenings and hours. At night, I don't know how many frozen meters we've done in the last 12 years, but it's been a lot. He's saved me from, he got me dizzy and then he saved me from falling into the street. So that was always nice. So, but yeah, turning valves and stuff. So Tony, thank you. I appreciate it. Jake first.
Do you guys do pictures?
Miss A.
Rob,
Please.
Rob, you guys gonna do pictures?
Yeah, we are. Never time you know things next.
Check the pose.
Like to be, that's all right. So you'll be all right.
Can I put your picture in the paper?
Well. Yeah,
Oh, then you.
I signed it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you very much.
All right, we will move on to citizen comments, special presentation. Citizen comments, city council welcomes your unscheduled comments. Please limit comments to 3 minutes and council will not take action at the same meeting. Margot? It's your time.
Hello, city council and everybody. It's just good to be back. I just want to say thank you, Rob, for this block from Washington to, what is that street? The main street.
Adams.
Second.
Yeah, on Fourth, had more potholes. You couldn't drive down that street without losing your car. This week, you fixed it.
Did not.
You did
Andrew
not?
and his crew fixed it.
Well, whoever fixed it, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's wonderful to be able, because I take that road every day. And it's so nice not to lose my car because it was bad. So thank you for doing that. And the town looks good. We got some new restaurants. The bakery is incredible. The noodle place across from Safeway is yummy. And I haven't tried the Thai place yet, but I plan on it. So it's nice to see our little city growing and having good businesses and friendly people. So it's a joy to live here. Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. Any other citizen comments? How come you always turn your head?
Sure.
All right, we will go to scheduled appearances. In order to be included on this portion of the agenda, you have to fill out the appropriate paperwork for the city clerk no later than noon on Monday prior to the meeting. So we have the amendment to the drug and alcohol policy for the city of Monte Vista. Shannon?
The drug and alcohol policy.
You know, I'm.
You should have looked at the agenda.
It's not.
Yeah.
I didn't look all the way down. Okay, well, then we're winging this one. The drug and alcohol policy was originally done in the first part of January. It was kind of tagged on to the handbook that was passed. The update to this essentially adds verbiage, specifically related to DOT testing. We are required by law to report to a clearinghouse. And so essentially that's all it is. Nothing else changed except for adding language that explains that if you have a DOT license and you have something that comes up, I have to report it to the clearinghouse. So that was essentially the only change that was made. Okay. Thank you.
Shannon. Resolutions. Resolution 2025-11, amending resolution 2023-16, allowing for execution of the economic incentives for the hotel development. This you needed doing this?
So this is just for record-keeping purposes. So at the last meeting, you all approved for the execution of the excuse me. You all approved for the execution of the incentive agreements. Well, back in 2023, you approved the incentive agreements in resolution 2023-16. So the resolution should have actually just been amended. So all I'm asking for tonight is for you to approve resolution 2025-11, amending resolution 2023-16, a resolution of the city of Monte Vista to execute the economic incentives for hotel development that were approved on December 7th of 2023.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2025-11, amending resolution 2023-16, allowing for execution of the economic incentives for hotel development. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve resolution 2025-11, amending resolution 2023-16, allowing for the execution of the economic incentives for the hotel development.
We will move on to contracts, agreements, and leases. Tactical Emergency Medical Service Agreement. Corporal Josh Hill.
Counselors, Mr. Mayor. It's Dennis. I'd like to start by thanking you guys for giving me your time and attention on the matter. I'd also like to thank those present and those who are here in support. Tonight, I'm giving a presentation for the Monte Vista Police Department Tactical Emergency Medical Service and Rapid Response Team. I believe you guys have received a packet involving the contract that would be part of that for the purposes of getting a medical director for the team. What I'll be presenting tonight is what that team would do. I've had the honor of serving in the community with the police department for 8 years. I'm a certified EMT and have been working with Monte Vista Ambulance Service at the capacity, at that capacity for 2 years. And I am currently pursuing my advanced EMT. Over the course of my law enforcement career, I've responded to several medical calls. And during those medical calls, I've had to wait periods of time doing CPR, controlling breathing, rescue breaths for people who are in critical emergencies. While I've been doing this, I've been limited to basic first aid and CPR techniques, even after my EMT certification had been acquired. After I got certified as an EMT, I saw the potential for being able to provide an increased level of care to the public that could be provided early because of the speed of police response. A short time after that, another EMT, Juan Palmares, was hired by the police department. And after that, another one of our officers also got EMT certified. When I saw this, I considered the potential of being able to provide an early response through the police department. And the development of the Monte Vista Police Department, TEMS RRT, or TEMS Tactical Emergency Medical Service and Rapid Response Team. In concept, the idea is that the members of the police department who are EMT certified would be able to provide that advanced level of care as members of the police department while waiting for EMS to arrive. Because of the number we have, it would not change any of the PD staffing or scheduling. We would be able to maintain this as we at our current employment levels for the police department. It would effectively be just another tool the police department would be able to use to help save lives. The things that we see regularly where critical care is necessary is drug overdoses, heart attacks, respiratory failures, diabetic emergencies, serious falls or accidental traumas, and car accidents. There's been a number of recent tragedies in Colorado that show how a high casualty count can be done in a short time and how rapid intervention can be paramount in being able to save lives. One of the most recent events was the Boulder firebomb, which had 15 casualties noted as of June 4th, and an active shooter situation on May 25th with 6 casualties. Other modern incidents that we may face are chemical incidents due to the industrial infrastructure we have in the surrounding area, and fire hazards that come every year, such as the 420 fire here in Monte Vista. The Monte Vista Ambulance Service provides excellent medical service. The drawback that they have is that it's a volunteer service. So response times for crews for a primary crew can be 7 to 13 minutes. And response time for secondary crews and mutual aid can take up to 25 minutes. The ambulance service currently has 4 ambulances that it can call on for being able to provide care, but they cannot enter hazardous situations immediately. They have to wait for the hot zone, what's called the hot zone, where immediate critical incidents are to be cleared of danger before they can respond to it. The situation with this is death can occur or start to occur in a person in as early as 4 minutes. Incidents where rapid care is absolutely critical are incidents like a heart attack, breathing issues, overdoses, traumatic incidents such as gunshots, car accidents, and active shooters. The police department is always active, and we have an average response time in critical incidents of about 2.5 minutes. And the police can enter hot zones where EMS can't. These are examples of incidents where the Thames team would be able to respond. On the left are examples of tactical incidents where the team would receive specialized training for responding to active shooters, SWAT integration, rescue task force operations, hot zone entry for care and extraction and rapid triage. But medical incidents that also happen every day where we could respond within the community include being able to provide advanced airway medications for anaphylaxis and asthma and oxygen for smoke inhalation. We would be able to provide early cardiac response, such as oxygen, nitroglycerin, and aspirin, and early defibrillation with advanced trained CPR.
Go ahead.
Stop working.
Amen.
Other things we'd be able to provide are advanced trauma care and care for pneumothorax, which is a collapsed lung. We'd also be able to provide additional medical care for diabetic emergencies, which are actually fairly common. And additional medical assistance during mass casualty incidents and being able to provide stabilization when EMS services have been overwhelmed. The goal is to have somebody available 7 days a week, even though not 24/7, where they would be able to respond normally as police officers, but would also be able to activate for critical medical incidents to provide life-saving care while waiting for EMS to respond. The idea of TEMS in this context would be as a force multiplier to be able to help that stabilization for those prolonged times when the ambulance is having a delayed time or mutual aid is necessary. The other agencies have started implementing community response from the police department by EMTs, by officers who are trained as EMTs. The one that really brought inspiration to me on this was Albuquerque PD. And they've been working for several years. Muskogee PD has been active doing this for about a year. And Orange County, New York Sheriff's Office has implemented this program similar to this as well. The team would consist of 4 people. First being Dr. Hurley as the medical director. He's the individual that we would be doing the contract for medical director with. He is currently the medical director for Monte Vista's ambulance service. So we would be able to have a smooth transition on being able to work on what protocols are available between the police department and the ambulance. I would be one of the officers as an EMT, and Daniel Golden and Juan Palomares what are also EMTs that would be participating in this team. The program would not be of cost to the general public. It would not be billed like medical services is. The concept is a startup, it's a pilot. So the initial pilot program would be about 6 months, which has already been funded by the Lore Foundation. Special thanks to that. Continued funding would be expected through donations and grants and wherever else we could pick up funding on that. I've also received a letter from Sergeant Anthony Chacon with the Monte Vista Police Department to present to you. It says, to the city of Monte Vista, I would like you to consider in favor of the Monte Vista Police Department TEMS team. I truly believe this team will not only be an asset for the Monte Vista Police Department, but also serve the entire community and offer support to the Monte Vista Emergency Medical Service. As a member of the Monte Vista Police Department, I have personally experienced the need for an immediate EMS skill response. But due to a secondary or third call out, mutual aid requested extending response time of basic or advanced life-saving skills, or the EMS response prolonged past preferred response time until the ambulance can respond back from the hospital. This is no intention or a lack of diligence on Monte Vista ambulance. Instead, it is busy enough at times that these types of events occur within the city of Monte Vista. A creative step to a solution for this issue is the startup of the Thames team. The Monte Vista Police Department has 3 dedicated and trained members who are EMT basics or EMT advanced. The 3 members are dedicated to safety, to the safety of the scene first. And when the scene is safe to do so, apply EMT life-saving skills given knowledge. Corporal Hill has spent hundreds of hours researching, applying for grants and funding, and contacting other agencies who use Thames. I am happy to assure you Corporal Hill is capable of handling the task of supervising the team at the highest of standards. I commend Corporal Hill for his dedication to service to the Monte Vista Police Department and exploring a unique solution to a citywide issue, which also helps the police department when it comes to tactical response and high-risk events. EMTs who are not post-certified could not directly participate due to being civilian and not post-certified. Instead, EMS waiting for the scene to be safe, the Thames team will be a quick reaction force capability. With Thames being involved with tactical operations, Thames will apply EMT skills immediately, and should a Monte Vista Police Department member get hurt, be able to evac the officer. A normal EMT member will have to wait for the threat to be eliminated or subdued versus Thames members who will respond accordingly and then have EMS response. I believe the Monte Vista Police Department and Monte Vista Ambulance working hand in hand will only ensure the best interest of the citizens of Monte Vista. I believe the Thames team will be a positive outlook for the city of Monte Vista, the Monte Vista Police Department, and the Monte Vista Ambulance Service. Thank you for your time and consideration of this topic, as it is of utmost importance and interest. Kindest regards, Anthony Chacon. I thank you all again for hearing me on this. Do any of you have any questions?
So you said that you have like a 6 months pilot with the Lore Foundation,
Yes,
right? And then after that, it's going to be grants and donations.
yes.
Curious, how much is that? The 6
So
months.
current estimate of operating costs is gonna be approximately $8,000 annually. And that's the cost for the insurance for the medical director plus salary for the medical director. As part of the packet, the Monte Vista Ambulance Service has agreed to provide equipment, additional training, and supply for this team to be operational. Oh, tentatively.
Thank you.
I have some questions. And some of these things I'm asking for their benefit, Josh, because we've talked a lot about this. First, Dr. Hurley, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
No, the presentation was quite good and comprehensive. Thank you.
And so I don't know if you guys have had time to read through all the paperwork on this yet, but will your body cams be activated?
Yes. As per state law, even during medical incidents, the body cams will remain active the entire time.
And whose safety is number one in this?
The primary safety is the officer and community at large. So officer safety is going to be how we go through and handle and address it. The priorities of life as per police department procedure, protocol, and ethics will not be changed.
and the ambulance department understands that there won't necessarily be an officer with this sort of tactical training on every shift.
That's correct.
And why are we doing this as a pilot?
We're doing this as a pilot. Funding is going to be a factor on this because granting can be rather fluid. The cost of operating this, like I said, it's about $8,000 a year. And $8,000 can be, it can be a little bit to go by donation. The other reason for this being a pilot is this is something that is, whereas other agencies have done it, they are all metro or very large agencies. Something at a rural scale is something I've not been able to find. Definitely not for a police department of 15 more. So the capacity, making sure that the police department can maintain that capacity is part of why this is a pilot as well.
And is this supported 100% from all your officers?
From all officers, I can't say 100% for all officers. I do know that not everybody agrees with this.
Okay. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to make this a pilot program. The grant, we're behind the 8 ball just a little bit with the funding that Laura had given us. And so, because we're already into the year. And so we said, or I was being supportive of, let's call this a pilot. Let's get through this time period and then we can reevaluate and make sure that it's working well for Juan, Josh, and Daniel, as well as then our other officers, and if we should decide to proceed. And then with working with the ambulance and Dr. Hurley, they will be buying all of the medical supplies. And so they'll be also watching to make sure that they don't expire, and if they expire, they'll be replaced. So I think it potentially could be a real win-win for our community and to maybe be a I don't know, a showcase for the state on how we can possibly manage this, as long as they always know that their safety is number one and making sure everybody's. I mean, you might have somebody lying there that's not doing well, but if you've got someone else shooting out a window at you, got to take care of number one first, so.
More questions? Or
So we would like a motion that you guys then are sanctioning this and so that they can proceed.
Make a motion to approve the pilot program of having medical staff on the police department.
Mhm.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to have the pilot program for the tactical emergency medical service agreement. Is there any more discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to approve the pilot program for the tactical emergency medical service agreement. Congratulations, Josh.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
Congratulations.
I really do think that it's an amazing thing, literally, that y'all three can provide to the public. So awesome. Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Can I just ask 2 questions? What's the end of the program, the pilot, when does it end?
It would be the end of the calendar year.
Okay,
So
so
it would be,
covered
so
up
the pilot is set for the end of the calendar, and it's really evaluation to take place in, I believe, November or December.
well, we gotta know these things so we can help you raise money. That's why the question.
So, thank you, sir.
You know,
The pilot program is set to be contracted to the end of the calendar year with reevaluation to take place before that. So anything that we could help get moving as far as funding for that to proceed into the next year, could the program be approved to move beyond to its pilot, would be greatly appreciated.
At that point, it'd come under the city's budget.
At that time, it's not currently budgeted.
Well, yeah. But that's the goal.
It would be, the idea financially is that it maintains its own budget.
Are you guys gonna get certified as that people?
Certified to, excuse me?
That, the heart attack thing?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
yes, as EMTs and as basic, life-saving and first aid, all officers are certified in the use of an AED or.
Sounds like a good deal. Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Thank you, Grant. Okay, reapproval of easement agreement for ingress and egress for the easterly extension of Clearview Drive as described in the Sky High boundary line adjustment.
So again, this is just for record keeping purposes. This is just to clean this up just for all of you, so we have this on the record properly. At the last council meeting, it was under resolutions when it should have been under contracts. So I'm just asking for reapproval of easement agreement for ingress and egress for the easterly extension of Clearview Drive as described in the Sky High boundary line adjustment.
So, second. It's been moved and seconded for reapproval of the easement agreement for the ingress and egress of the easterly extension of Clearview Drive as described in the Sky High boundary line adjustment. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segal.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to reapprove the easement agreement for ingress and egress for the easterly extension of the Clearview Drive as described in the Sky High boundary line agreement.
Right. Award the Monte Vista revitalizing Main Street sidewalk project.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. In front of you tonight is the request to award the Revitalizing Main Street project. This project is a sidewalk project that extends sidewalk from the Dairy Queen north along 285 and tying in at the start of the sidewalk for the O'Reilly's building. This would create a continuous sidewalk along that corridor on the east side of 285. The project was advertised for 2 weeks and a bid opening was held on May 8th. At the opening, there was 4 qualified bidders. The bidders are as follows. Altron Construction, $63,727.81. RMS Utilities, $81,714. Robbins Construction, $42,757. And SLV Quality Concrete for $33,944. The grant award for this project was $36,258.20 with a required 10% match. That was met by the graciousness of the Lohr Foundation. This will be Public Works' first time working with the Lohr Foundation, so I want to point out a big thank you for them providing that match for us so we could do this grant. Upon speaking with SLV Quality Concrete, their bid included all the necessary components to include a CDOT approved traffic control. So staff has no recommendations or couldn't find anything to not recommend to award the project to the low bidder. So at this time, I would ask City Council to please recommend awarding to SLV Concrete for award for $33,944.
So moved. Seconded. It's been moved and seconded to award the 2025-06 Monte Vista revitalizing Main Street bid to SLV Quality Concrete for the bid amount of $33,944. Is there any discussion? Unita?
Counselor Howard.
Yeah.
Counselor Lorenz,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segal.
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Aye.
Motion carries to award the Monte Vista revitalizing Main Street sidewalk project to SLV Quality Concrete in the amount of $33,944.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, we will receive and approve and financial report for April financials from Judy Phillips.
Good evening. So I'm going to present the April 2025 financial report. We're still unaudited, so I'll notice that it says unaudited there. The city has currently completed 33% of the 2025 fiscal year as of April 30th, 2025. Cash balance in the main checking account, $3,361,546. Water fund, $442,098. Sewer fund, $1,793,423. Revenue in excess of expenditures. The general fund is $123,579. Water fund is a negative $33,869. Sewer fund, $252,088. Total expenditures percent of the approved budget amounts. General fund is 26%, water fund 27%, and sewer fund is 18%. General fund revenues currently show a decrease of $114,340 from same time last in 2024. Differences from 24 to 25 were due to total tax revenue decreasing primarily due to the receipt of the SB 22 reimbursement we got last year. Federal grant revenue has decreased through April as we have received in ARPA funds for I lost it, to cover the large purchases such as the boiler units and the mosquito sprayer. However, notable increases for 2025 include new grant revenue received for the PD, recreation, and for holiday lights. We've had a slight increase in Sky High revenue. We've had an increase in the airport lease revenue, and we are using some retirement forfeitures from our retirement accounts. The water fund decrease is related to the water lease funds being received in April last year, and we did not receive those until May this year, so it'll look better next month. The sewer fund shows a slight increase, and those were due to sewer service charges. General fund revenues average $424,939 per month. April brought in the highest revenue of the first 4 months, and sales tax was actually a bit higher in April, which attributed to a portion of that. So April actually looked a little bit better, thank goodness. General property tax revenue follows the same pattern as usual, with the traditional spike in April. And compared to the first 4 months of 2024, the city's down about $13,000 in property tax for 2025. Rio Grande County sales tax revenue. Compared to the first 4 months of 2024, the RGCO sales tax is down about $27,000 for 25. Compared to the first 4 months, again, the city sales tax is down about $5,000 compared to 2024. And total tax revenue compared to the first 4 months of 2024, the total tax revenue is down about $136,000. Again, 110 is due to that reimbursement we received. So that only leaves us down about $26,000 compared to last year in tax revenue, if you deduct the 110. Expenditures in both the general fund and water fund through April have had really no significant change. The sewer fund decrease in expenditures is due primarily to a decrease in funds going out for engineering services through April. General fund expenditures average $394,044 per month. April's expenditures came in above that average. However, March, as you can see, let's see, we're on a different page. There we go. Sorry, that's okay. March expenditures were quite low, so I'm sure April made up for it.
Comparing monthly budgeted amounts for expenditures at 33% of the budget year, we are under budget by 7% in the general fund. And all departments are operating within their budgets. The city is due for a budget amendment to update for grants that are now active and to allocate the additional funds for the 1 cent budget. I'll likely get that proposed amendment done this month, present next month. One more. The current ratio is $6.41 of current assets for every $1 of current liabilities. And we have 8.05 months of operating expenses in the general funds, total unassigned fund balance. As I mentioned, the audit has yet to start. However, they have everything from me, and hopefully it's going to start sometime this month.
And who's doing the audit?
Well, Smith and Bateman. Any questions?
Judy, would you want to give them a little bit of an update on the golf course?
Sure. We have, well, Wall Smith, and I guess, I'm not sure if we've been updated on this, but Wall Smith and Bateman requested that we did, because we are the fiscal agent for the grant, as well as the fact that we will own the building for, the clubhouse once it's built. Basically, it will belong to the city. They requested that it all flow through our funds, which is kind of part of the reason that we haven't had the audit yet. I was waiting for a lot of figures and documents from the golf course to get that stuff into our books for 24. We do have that now into the books. We've spent approximately, I believe it's about 100,000 in expenses so far. And then they had a lot of in-kind work done. I know Matthias Concrete has done probably $65,000 worth of in-kind work over there. So I think they're probably, I don't know, I don't really have a percent of completion. I know the building is, they're expecting to start within the next few weeks, I think. So they're planning on having it up by September, I believe. So I don't know a whole lot more than that, but
Thank you.
we are moving along with it. So,
Thank you, Judy.
thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to staff proposals, reports and actions. City clerk.
So I'm gonna do part of my report up here and then part of the report from there. So I want to show you guys some stuff on the computer. So first of all, I just want to remind you all that come July 1st, we have to be compliant with the ADA bill, which is the House Bill 211110. It was granted that we were given an extra year by House Bill 241454, which gave us 1 year to comply with the ADA requirements. So as of July 1st, our website, all of our documents and anything that we present to the public has to be ADA approved. My deputy clerk, Sarah, has been taking all the classes, and we do have the Common Look program that we run all of our programs, all of our documents through. And they are right now in the process of being completed through our web designer, through MuniBit to go on our website as fillable documents that are ADA compliant. So as of July 1st, our website and all of our documents are ADA compliant. And just to let you know, we have actually, thanks to our IT department and to Sarah and myself, we've actually been about almost a year in advance of other communities in getting this approved and moved along with the requirements for that House bill. I had presented to you at one point in time that I may have to bring some businesses in front of you. I'm proud to announce that all of our businesses have now been renewed. So I don't have to bring anybody in front of you for that. Court has been busy. We currently have 120 cases. Judge Zollers has been having me look into some of the cases and following up after court and keeping the defendants on track with paying their fines and fees for court and keeping up with their useful public service as well. Following up with that, just a question for you all. Our first meeting in July falls on July 3rd. We are actually closed at City Hall for July 3rd in remembrance of Independence Day. Do you all want to cancel that meeting or do you want to have that meeting?
I think we should cancel it. Goes to the 4th.
I can go either way, whatever you guys want.
Because the next meeting,
Pressing matters.
Yeah.
the next meeting would be July 17th.
Yeah, so at our next meeting, we'll have a heavier agenda. But everything's pretty much on track.
And I expect cupcakes, and birthday presents. Because that is my birthday. July 17th is my birthday.
Oh.
Cupcakes, birthday presents.
Rob, would you take care of that, please?
So no meetings in July is what I'm hearing.
Oh, that's the holidays. If you hit the holidays and the meetings, we just take it off.
Yeah. So you all okay with canceling the 3rd, or do you want to have it?
I'm never canceling.
That's fine. Just to make a motion on that.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Would like to make a motion to cancel our July 3rd council meeting and do the holiday.
Second. Been moved and seconded to cancel the July 3rd council meeting to recognize Independence Day. Is there any discussion?
I think she was wanting a motion for cupcakes on her birthday.
But I guess we can vote on this too.
Who cares?
No. No amendment on that one.
So you need a?
Counselor Howard,
Yes.
Counselor Lawrence,
Yes.
Counselor Watson,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Segala,
Aye.
Mayor Becker.
Let me think about this.
Motion carries to cancel the July 3rd council meeting in observation of the Independence Day. Okay, so the next part of my presentation, I wanted to let you guys know, thanks to Gigi, she allowed for us to get go through a company called TextMyGov. It is, so it's on. So what it is TextMyGov is a process now that people can interact with the city through texting. So today's generation, most people have cell phones, and most generation, that's what they do, is text. Most of the people today is text. So we have got this company called TextMyGov. TextMyGov will allow people to send us messages and will allow us to send them messages even when we're not here. So it's a 24/7 program that allows us to interact with our community. So when you log into our website, the first thing you'll see is the TextMyGov landing page. And if you click here, it'll go straight to a landing page, which will explain to you everything that you will need to know about TextMyGov. This gives you the phone numbers that you will need to know for notifications. It'll give you the phone number you need to know how to text. If you have a problem, it'll give you the phone number you need to text, which is the 719-628-772. Frequently asked questions. And then if you scroll down, it gives you the QR code both in English and in Spanish on how to sign up for the TextMyGov app. Not an app, it's just a complete text. So then when department heads, so there's just a handful of us that have access to the program, excuse me. And something that I wanted to share with you guys, because I thought this was really cool, and I thought it would be very useful for especially like utility billing, courts, and for public works, is notifications. So when you go into notifications, we have. So we can do scheduled events. So on June 9th is when we go live. So we have a scheduled notification to go out. We've already created a database. So they went through, TextMyGov went through, and they collected everything that's in the city of Monte Vista's database right now with phone numbers. And they've created this database, so everybody who's in it will get this text message come Monday morning. Well, I think we scheduled it 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock. So at 1 o'clock Monday afternoon, everybody will get this text messages welcoming them to TextMyGov and asking them to either opt in or opt out of this text program. This is the cool thing that I really liked about the TextMyGov. So this is the database that we currently have. Can you guys see that okay?
Yeah.
So we can actually go in here. And we can locate, so if there is a water leak on Adams Street, we can go in here and we can highlight just the block of Adams Street, the 100 block of Adams Street. And we can send a text notification to just the people that it affects. And we can send that text notification stating, hey, we have a water leak in the 100 block of Adams Street. Please be aware your water is going to be shut off from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please be prepared for that time for Public Works to fix it. This is something that Judy and I spoke about too. This will eliminate the shut off the door hangers. This program will eliminate that too. So come that time of the month for Judy's department to send out notification that their water is gonna be shut off. They can literally pick what customers will be shut off and send those customers text messages. Instead of sending them door hangers, they can send them a text message saying, hey, your water's gonna be shut off.
So how will that work, Nita? Like Mr. Farish doesn't use text messaging. And we're gonna shut off his water. How is he gonna be made aware of that?
So those people who don't use text messaging.
Nothing comes out.
Yes, so those people who don't use text messaging and who don't have cell phones, we're gonna keep record of those. We have a spreadsheet and we're gonna keep record of those, and those people will still receive either a door hanger or a letter of notification.
I'm worried about Margot over here. And she's rolling her eyes.
Like you said, turn on the faucet, let water.
Oh, what is?
I
There's your message.
can handle this.
We'll still do both.
Yeah, and so until we
Yeah.
get to where we're 100% comfortable one way or another, I mean, we'll continue to do both. But this is just the program that will enable us to, in the future, be able to notify people. Yeah, because it has, you know, with the future of cell phones. So these are some of the categories that we've put in there already: animal control code, park issues, road, sewer, water. And these are some of the things that people can text in. One of the nice things about this program and the program that Public Works just got, the iWorks program. So if somebody texts in a message saying that there's a pothole on Sixth and Adams, then that message, not only is it gonna come through the Text My Gov app, but it's gonna automatically generate a message that's gonna go through iWorks, and it'll go to the Public Works Department for their work orders. So it integrates with the iWorks program as well.
And who's gonna monitor these text messages?
So myself, Rob's department, and so myself, Michelle Bradford, Michelle Seacrest, and who, I'm sorry, and Michelle Ingram.
And so there's a dog at large at 12:30 AM. Who's gonna respond as they're saying, there's a dog running around my neighborhood?
So that text message will come through, and then the next morning, whenever we get it, so it'll be an automatic response. Thank you for letting us know that there's a dog at large. And then they have Cody's phone number, his work phone number, and his email address on file. And then that will generate an email straight to Cody as the code enforcement officer. So he'll get an email saying that there was a dog at large. If it's an emergency, it'll generate a 911 message that'll go straight to Cody saying that there's a dangerous dog at large with a dog bite included. But they will also generate a message back to the person that sent the text saying you need to call 911 for emergency.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to work with IT and come up with some sort of etiquette so that we're not getting text messages after, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the evening.
There's a block on here, and I think it's 11 PM is what it is, that it stops it from going to any of us. And then it just gathers it in the database until the next morning, and then it shoots them out.
I think it should be a little earlier than 11 PM.
I can change that.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. Cause I'll be in bed sleeping. 11 o'clock's kind of late.
And then these are some of those responses that we have put in the system. I know it's really hard for you guys to see these. So like pay my bill, somebody can text in, I wanna pay my bill. And it'll send them a response back, and that response back will have the city's website attached to it. That will take them straight to pay my bill, to the express bill pay, where they can pay their bill online. So if they wanna know their court date, you know, when is my court date, they'll text that. It'll text them back the website for the court docket. So we have that all set up already in the system. Any questions?
Any have questions?
No.
Seems like another tool for the tool, bro. Yep. Very good. Thank you, Unita. Public Works, Rob?
You have my report in your packet, so I won't go through that too much. I would like to just point out, and thank Shannon since she's actually here tonight. This is the first year as far as hiring our seasonals and our staff. We have got a wonderful group of young men that are employed with us. I can't say enough. I'm super happy with how they're starting out, so. Thank you. So, other than that, I hate to be Mr. Downer, but I have a couple of policy things that we need to discuss. So in my report, I talked about mosquito spray. We started our spray at the very end of, what was it, May 23rd or whatever the date was. Gigi and myself have been pretty well inundated with a set of emails. You guys have those in your packets about the mosquito spray. In 1978, City Council passed an ordinance declaring mosquitoes a nuisance and a pest. And as such, they determined that cities should pay for a service to eradicate those pests. That has not been changed since 1978. 2 years ago, I held a series of public meetings to see if our community has changed their thoughts on that. During those two public meetings, the attendance was pretty well split 50-50. We also conducted an online and a mail-in survey. The results of that survey were overwhelming in favor of continuing the spray. At the time, City Council chose not to make any changes. We made a few adjustments to our process with less than desirable results. So this year we have come back and have sprayed our, I'll call it our old stable, the malathion. The only change that we've implemented this year that we've done in years past was we took away the no spray list. That seems to have that group of folks kind of in an uproar. So I guess I'm asking City Council to think about it. You don't have to make any changes if you choose not to, but if you think we need to change policy or procedures, I would like to know that. We are getting hit pretty hard. The reason I am not, and I explained this in March when I presented it to you guys, we did have a series of folks that live across from somebody on the no spray list that say basically, hey, we're paying for a service and you as a city are not providing that service to us. The no spray list has always been a courtesy. And it has become a direct conflict with an ordinance that I, as Public Works Director, I'm charged to enforce. So until City Council chooses to change that, my task is to try to eradicate mosquitoes from the city. Choice of chemicals and stuff, we try that. We can continue. The malathion seems to give us the best results. We are spraying both north and south roads and east and west roads. Tonight's spray that'll start here in about another hour. We will turn it off as we go east and west through the intersections, so we don't necessarily spray houses twice. And so make sure we're not adversely affecting the label requirements. But other than that, I need to know if council, after reading this stuff, if you feel there is a need for either a process change or a policy change. The other one is a thing we took off. This is G2. This is
Before you go there,
yes.
let's still talk about mosquitoes. I think we should mention about pine and spruce.
So pine and spruce back in 2015, they made a petition to the city council to be on our spray list. So we added them. As they are outside city limits, they get charged double. Recently, based on some of the emails we've received, did some checking and found out that those folks had not been changed due to some staff changes, that hasn't been done in a few years. So we are going to start charging them, the entire group out there, starting in June. So this month, their letters are going out and they're gonna start seeing it on the water bills. So I think that's fair, but I wanted council to know, in case you've heard about things, that there is a group out on Spruce and Pine that have not been charged. And it was agreed to by city council at that time, and that they were to be charged for the service.
What is the charge?
It's $13 a month.
That's a regular charge?
That's the rate that they're charged, yes.
That's their charge.
Yes,
Otherwise it's $6.50.
yes.
Okay.
Any comments, questions on any of the mosquito spray stuff?
I'm good with it the way it is.
And I'm gonna say something on behalf of those that want it. Their concern, of course, is the pollinators. And pollinators are not just bees, they're also butterflies. They're ladybugs, hummingbirds, and so some of these little insects will sleep in the flowers at night. And so they're concerned that they're still gonna get sprayed, so we've heard a lot about pollinators of late.
It's a sticky situation. I don't really know which way to go about on that one, but you can't appease everybody all the time. There's just no way.
No, and like I said, and that's why I did this 2 years ago to bring council current information, because the ordinance itself is quite old. It's 78, so it's quite old. And the online and the mail-in survey, the majority of the populace is still saying that that's what they want. So that's what we do. We do have a contingent within the population that are not happy with it. So moving on, the other one was an item that we asked to take off tonight, and that's G2. That was a request to remove water and sewer taps from a property that still has a building. And I'm gonna read this just so council understands what is currently on the municipal code. And I'm talking section 10-2-20, the establishment of charges, liability for payment. The city council shall by resolution establish charges for connections and collection charges relating to water service, storm sewer, sanitary sewer service, pest and insect control service, prescribe the time and manner of payment for such charges, and adopt measures designed to enforce the payment thereof, such as in the discretion are necessary and desirable. Such rates and charges are set forth in Appendix 10B attached into this chapter. The utility service charges shall be due and payable as long as a house or business is connected to the service, regardless of whether it is vacant or occupied. Such service charges shall continue to be charged on any unoccupied premises as long as any building or structure on the premises is connected to the city system. Service charges may be discontinued only for properties on which such buildings are torn down or removed from the premises. If any property owner requests his or her tap to be abandoned, the city will disconnect said tap upon payment of any applicable disconnect fee. Any reconnection of said tap shall be necessary to payment of such new tap fee as may be applicable at the time of reconnection. So this particular thing creates kind of a conflict for us. It says that we may not disconnect anybody's property as long as there is a structure on it. Yet at the same time, it has a provision that says you may do it, so that as the governing body, that puts the onus on this city council to approve on a case-by-case basis somebody wanting to disconnect city services. We have quite a few citizens. Right now, I have 2 in my office, the one that was before you tonight, who was asked to act a little bit. She wants it a little differently. And then I have another one in my office, and I have a third person that has called, but has not yet made a formal request to city council. I've instructed my associate, Michelle Bradford, to create an application process along with a checklist so we can gather some files for city council to review. I need to know from city council if you want to provide a means for people to disconnect or abandon their water and sewer taps and therefore forego the base charges. Right now, the way it reads is even if a place or property is completely abandoned, nobody's lived there for years, the property is unlivable, as long as that structure remains, they have to pay the base rates. So right now that's $55, $56 for sewer and $28 a month for water. So that's $80 a month, or $87 a month, plus your pest control, your streetlights and everything else. So roughly just for argument's sake, $100 a month. A lot of these people that are calling us are elderly, they're on limited incomes. They don't necessarily want to sell the property. They want to retain it. It has value as far as emotional attachment to them. They don't want to give it up. But at the same token, they cannot afford to pay it. What has been going on for the last 2 years, and I think Judy can attest to this, is that they get further and further behind on their water and sewer bill. They can't pay it. Judy winds up having to do a tax lien on the property that goes to the assessors or to the treasurer. Amount of money is put on the property. Eventually, after a few years of that property is really not sellable because the liens are more than what the property is actually worth. So when people do come, it hasn't happened with Gigi being in city manager, where under old city managers, people would come in and those fees would be forgiven just so that property could be sold. So it was a process that really never equated to anything but a loss to the city.
Cost you to disconnect the tap.
What's that?
What does it cost you to disconnect all that and move the tap?
It would cost roughly for my crew about $500, because all we would do is we would pull the meter and then if the meter was in the house, we would just dig down on the other side of the curb stop, make a disconnect and can disconnect the thing and do the same on the sewer side and back. Cap both ends so roots don't get into our main and collector. And then at the time that they wanted to do something with it, they would have to buy new water and sewer taps at whatever those new rates would be. And they've gone up in the last 2 years. So, I just kind of need to know how to go. I've got Michelle working on an application. Up to now, I've just asked people to just send a letter saying that this is what they want. I don't know if you want to keep it that simple or if you want to have a formal prove your hardship to city council. I don't necessarily think that necessarily a public meeting would be the best thing to have somebody come up and air their dirty laundry, but at the same token, if it would be a file I could present to city council offline, you could review it and then I could present the case in front of city council at a public meeting, and you could make that call without going into details. Still show some transparency without getting into the weeds. I think that would be acceptable. The other option is we are to treat our water and sewer as a business. And it's not good business to do away with revenue. So, and as from the report, we're already down a little bit on our water side. In revenue. So, but it's going to get worse. Is what I'm telling city council.
We're expecting more people to apply and
Yes.
want to shut it.
Yes. Cause I've turned people away just because of this way it is do you have a structure? Yeah, the home's still there.
Still
You
there.
can't do anything. You know, but these people they're very persistent. They're behind. They've already got a tax lien on the property. It's only gonna get worse. And
The
that's,
option is to sell the property, and I understand you have an emotional attachment, you gotta decide which is it gonna be.
Rob, do you look at some of these? I mean, some of them are still nicely kept up. Or it's attached to the, next door, and so it's all kind of one yard. So those look nice and they're using the house for storage or whatever. Are you looking at this any differently compared to the blighted houses?
unfortunately, G, I can't.
I know,
don't
but
have
in
that-
this, but as we're thinking through this, and if there could be any changes, have you thought about, do we treat blighted houses differently than those that are still being maintained on the exterior?
Thought about that because I'm looking at it from a simple water and sewer standpoint. And that being a revenue side and blight being a totally different topic altogether. So I have not tried to compare the two and put it as a stipulation. No, I was looking at the ability to pay and whether or not it's a complicated thing, or at least it is for me, trying to do what I believe is good for our citizens and at the same time, good for the city. The good for the city is for us to collect the revenue that's due to us. But from practice and what I've seen, that's not necessarily the case. It's awful hard and I struggle. There are people out there in our community that could care less about their bills. They will buy alcohol and drugs before they pay their water bill. But there are also other people that have a true attachment. I will not even try to fathom, I guess, what that attachment is and the likelihood of it. But they will go without food trying to pay their bills. And once they get behind, it is a monster they cannot catch up on. Not when they're living on Social Security and that's their only income. They simply cannot catch up at those rates, and keep the power on and keep the other items that they have to have. And that's kind of where we are with some of our residents. And I don't know how to address that. And I don't have the ability to address this without your approvals.
So you said that the city council acts on a case by case.
It's so city council as policy, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna bore you with what you already know. You are the policy makers. So your options are to either change the ordinance or resolution allowing for us to disconnect services, or you do it on a case by case, kind of like you're the alcohol board. You hear people's requests and you do it through that, and you make the judgment. Whether it's, hey, it's Uncle George's property and I'm just tired of paying the bill and I don't want to do it. I don't intend to sell it. I just don't want to do anything with the property, but I want to keep it. So
I kind of think going case by case might be the best way, because there's, like you said, there's gonna be those people that just wanna not pay that, and then I have residents across the street, that are on fixed incomes, and I have some of them that have lost their houses, and and it's like, I struggle too,
and that's where I'm at with some of the ones that I have on my desk is they're not trying to do anything and they're literally playing a game and they're falling further and further behind, and it's not going to be good for them. They're gonna just come to the point where they're not going to be able to pay, and then we're out of money.
I do think that a lot of people should have the right to refuse service. I mean, they should have the right to say, no, shut it off, I don't wanna pay the bill. And like you guys said, it could maybe be on a case by case basis, but it might be just a policy change of, okay, if you don't want it, we'll disconnect it. And if you want it, you're gonna have to pay this big bill to get hooked back up.
Right, and the reason this is in there is to kind of force redevelopment. As a municipality. We want redevelopment, we don't want a bunch of vacant infill lots. We
And
don't
it might
want
set it
that.
up something to the extent of if it's the original owner and they wanna hook it back up and they have to bring all the rears up to. They have to get back square with us to do it.
Right,
But if they're a new, like someone just purchased it, then it's just regular tap fee to hook it up and.
well, and that's one of the things that I'm thinking in the application is they have to bring everything current. So we're not out money. $100, it would be $100 administrative fee and $100 disconnect fee, and we would do that, and hopefully we would make up that approximate $500 based on what they owe, and we get solved that way. Cause the other way, we're just out money,
Yeah.
plain and simple. So. At this point, I don't need a motion, I just kind of need a point me.
A clear application.
Okay. Is
At
there,
this point, case by case basis, we can, until we're overwhelmed with it. I think we can handle it just on a case by case.
I agree. Good enough, right? Any questions on my report other than that? All right, gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
PD.
So here is our monthly activity summary. For the month of May, we had 649 calls for service, 10 traffic accidents, 85 reports taken. We decided to add code enforcement. He's been super busy. He had 58 code enforcement related calls. We had 24 arrests, 30 citations issued, 69 traffic stops, and then 61 agency assists. So we've been pretty busy. Cody Smith, our code enforcement officer, he went through the FTO program really fast because of his previous law enforcement experience. So he's on his own now. He's doing really well, and he's a lot of issues that he's looking at, different types, but he's working really hard on that to clean up our city. We were awarded a $35,000 grant for handheld radios, and that's going to allow us to get 10 brand new radios for the officers. We tried to get enough for everybody, but they only gave us part of the grant money. And then we did hire a new police officer. He's a cadet just out of the academy, Briscoe Moats. So he's kind of on a 2-week admin phase, and then he'll start the 3-month FTO program and hopefully be done with that by September-ish or so. That's all I have, so. Any questions?
Tyler, you want to give them an update on what you've been working as far as the plans for Stampede?
Okay, yeah, so Stampede, we've had several meetings. Layout is gonna be different this year. I don't know if you all have heard that yet, but the carnival is gonna be on the softball fields. So layout's gonna be different. In my opinion, I think it's gonna work out a lot better. The transition point, the food truck area to the carnival, which is gonna be real close, so we don't have to walk, so far to get to the carnival. I think it'll work out really well right there. That's kind of it. We have another meeting. We did a walkthrough of it. Folks were worried because of the hotel, there would be less parking. But I mean, that area is huge, so if we put the carnival on the softball fields, there's gonna be even more parking than there ever was before, so I think it's gonna work out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. IT, Dawes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Been a little bit of a busy month for us in IT, just a lot of little busy work. To start off with, we've had 20 cell phones deployed this month as we went through and replaced every single cell phone that Public Works had. As it's been upwards of 5 years since we started with FirstNet, and a lot of them are starting to hit the point of needing replace. Some of them were around the 2 or 3 year mark, but we decided to just go ahead and get the entire department new phones. 14 of those phones were to Public Works. We have code enforcement replaced. We did the investigative phones. We have new devices as well for planning. And the head clerk, as Nita had requested a phone, and same with Michelle Bradford, as they're starting to hit a point where just getting contacted outside of work hours, a work cell phone was probably the best case scenario for them. And then we also have 2 new cell phones on the Public Works side. These are for seasonals at the request of Rob, as we've had a lot of new hires coming through for Public Works. We've had the new officer start over on the PD. I believe we have some new people starting in the rec here soon as well. So it's been very busy, and with that as well, we've had to go ahead and clear out the Active Directory and our Google licensing. So I was working with Shannon on that, getting our Google accounts cleaned up, getting our Active Directory cleaned up. This just frees up licenses for emails and all that fun stuff. So that way we can keep functioning and expanding as we need or shrinking down as necessary. We put a second monitor out at the shops for Dave in preparation for the new camera system out there, as that should begin pushed through before the end of the year. We did our site walkthrough on that as well this last week, and hopefully we have some news on that, on where those cameras are starting this coming week or the next couple of weeks. We pushed Cassell updates as there's some major updates that need to be pushed through, as finance will have some issues with the reports being able to edit. That has been rectified with the update. And we had fans at Sky High replacing some of the computers as the all-in-ones that they're using for video surveillance out there, or that they use for Stampede video surveillance for the PD setup squad room, were failing, so we went ahead and replaced those, and everything seems to be functioning now as we move forward and try and prepare for Stampede with them as well. Other than that, just usual patches, Windows updates, trying to keep everything secured as the world's moving in a fun direction with AI and all that fun stuff. I will ask everyone to please be mindful of what link you're clicking. Please look at the emails, and please, if you have any questions, please reach out to us in IT. Send the email over to us, have us look it over, and if it seems legitimate, we'll let you know. If it seems like a scam, we'll just let you know that, hey, just report it, as we've been running into a lot of issues with phishing attempts lately. Other than that, we're just trying to get caught up and prepare for the summer months, and hopefully hit a point of a slowdown, so that way we can actually go through, clean up. And one update as well, we did get in touch with Ken Groff with the Delaware School District on recycling system or recycling in this year. He is not going to participate with us, however, we did give him the contact, so we will still be trying to recycle a lot of the old equipment that the city has, both with Alamosa and Monte Vista. Just that way we can try and get a lot of the older things out of our offices and hopefully help the city minimize down on clutter. Other than that, I don't have anything else, and is there any questions?
Thank you. Sounds good. Stay busy. Thanks, Dawson.
Yeah, everyone, thanks.
City manager report.
So you remember it's been a couple of years now, we were working with Wildan in order to get water meters. And the first attempt through the grant, through the Bureau of Reclamation, was for a little over, I think it was around 1.2 million. The whole project was about 2.2 million. And our grant was rejected, so we had to reapply. And so Wildan has reapplied, and now it is stuck in the federal swirl of things right now. So I was able to secure a little over $1 million through the Department of Local Affairs through some funding that they had from the feds called LOMA. That we had originally planned on matching it with this Bureau of Rec grant that we should have had word on about 9 months ago. And so DOLA's been real patient with us, and we got news today that they're gonna use the funds for something else. And we can reapply if we want to. So I'm just so disappointed because the whole water meter project would have been paid 100% through grant funding. And now it's up in the air, and I don't know what potentially could happen, or if we're gonna end up having to, if we go forward with water meters as far as then a loan and that sort of thing. So that was a blow. I did attend the CML meeting in San Luis a couple weeks ago, and I brought up the mess we've got with CDPHE and how ridiculously expensive these wastewater treatment plants are getting. So then Larry Zaragoza, who's the town manager in La Jera, he stood up, echoed the same thing, and they're going through it and the exorbitant fee. And then Alamosa got up and said they're struggling and their figure has come in at 110 million. And so I was thinking, yep, that's about right. We're a third the size of Alamosa. And, you know, so we're a third of the size of what they're having to spend. So Rob was telling me that Alamosa is suing CDPHE. And I'm gonna reach out to Heather and see if there is an opportunity for maybe Lahara and Monte Vista. Maybe we go in together. I mean, it would cost some money, but we really hire a lawyer that knows how to handle these things and see what we can possibly do. So I'll see how that conversation goes and then come back to you guys, of course, but
What basis are they suing?
as for just the compliance levels are irrational.
Yeah, so, they've put requirements on their discharge that technology they can't even achieve. So from the get-go, when that permit becomes active, they're gonna be out of compliance. Because the testing labs do not have the technology to test the levels that they want. It's just not available. And for them to build the plant that they're saying to get to those levels is roughly 110 to 112 million.
That's a big price tag for any city.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
Well, and they're doing these permits, they're doing them blanket. They're every small community in the valley is gonna see it. I don't care if it's Del Norte, Lahara, Antonito, all of them are going to see it. They're just blanket putting permits out. With it's same thing we are. They're putting limits that there is just simply no way. I have a meeting coming up towards the end of the month, with CDPHE to specifically talk about lagoons. Because they've literally killed every lagoon in the state of Colorado. Every lagoon system is facing this. And it's out east, it doesn't matter where you are, it just, nobody can meet these requirements.
And it's not even it's not even the EPA, it's state.
So you consider.
Well, I don't know. It's just,
But you know, if enough of us raise enough stink to the state's gonna have to comply in some way, shape or form. I mean, if every city just gets an uproar, or every small town. So at least we can put our voice out there and say, we don't agree with this. It's like we're trying to comply, but we don't agree with it.
Let's get a legal opinion though before we throw a lot of money.
Yeah.
If they're tilting at windmills, I'm always for that, but. Let's not throw money at a case that we know we're gonna lose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and there was some legislation this last year brought on by, because of smaller communities in the northeast part of the state raising concerns. So they've made some adjustments, but it's not enough and it's not gonna help us.
Well, I just don't see how they expect small communities who are on a shoestring budget to begin with to just come up with this money for astronomical stuff. And then the government's on its upside down to begin with, so we're not getting any help there. I mean, if anything, if they could just give us time, more time. You know,
that's what they're talking about, is trying to extend those things. So it still doesn't eliminate it, it just postpones the pain, so to speak.
Well, and then costs go up anyway, so
yeah,
it doesn't.
yeah, inflation just takes over from there, so.
So the rest of my updates all have to do with the next few days and events coming up. Sky High in the city, we are doing a dance out at Sky High on Friday night. If you want to go out there and kick up your heels, and got a live band and trying to get people excited for Stampede. So that's Friday night. Doors open at 7. CRHDC is celebrating home ownership month. And so they're doing free food and bouncy house for kids and all kinds of stuff. And I know it's an open house, and their houses that they're building, which is off of like Faraday and Stallow and 6th and 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, so down on the south.
Division.
If anybody wants to go out there and say hi, they'd appreciate it. The Monday, we close on the Sky High property officially. They had a little hiccup with their bankers, and so we'll be good to go and sign those papers Monday. Also Monday, I'm trying to keep a close eye on this. The San Luis Valley Board of County Commissioners are all meeting, and they're gonna be talking about the jail. And they're talking about a regional jail. And Rio Grande has been visiting with Mineral and Saguache counties primarily. Castilla County is beginning to get interested. And so that's gonna be a heavy price tag for last I heard, they're talking like $58 million. So don't know how you slice up that pie, but Rio Grande County would be the biggest player in that. So that's all of us. June the 11th on Wednesday, Colette Scaff is going to be back in town, and she's going to have 8 of her little buddies from Arizona coming up with her. They had purchased a plaque through the Daughters of the American Revolution Arizona chapter to be placed at the Faith Hinckley Park. So they want to come up and see their plaque. So we're going to kind of have a little celebration again with them. And Colette asked if there was anything else that we might need. So maybe there's a little opportunity there for something else special. And then also on June the 11th is our 1 cent committee, going over how our 1 cent is spent through through Sky High, Public Works, and the PD. That's at 5 o'clock, and those are open to the public. And then June 21st, this last Monday, when did they come bring the pedestal? Anyway, we were at Sanchez Park, and I don't know, Victor, if you've noticed, but anyway, Alcon was generous with their time. They brought in this huge crane. The Sanchez family purchased an 8,000 pound pedestal, and then another 3,000 pound statue of a man replicating their father turning the water crank. Mr. Sanchez was the first Hispanic mayor in Monte Vista, but he was on city council in, I think it was 1966, that the city annexed in the territory of Lariat. And in 1968, they voted then to join Monte Vista's city water and sewer. And they had to borrow like $167,000. And they got it paid off early. It was an extra $3 on everybody's bill. I mean, it's just a really cool story. And so the Sanchez family is very excited. Mr. Sanchez, the eldest son that's still alive, still summers here in Monte Vista, but his primary residence is in New York. And then he has 4 sisters. They will all be in town. So if you can, it's on a Saturday, come by Sanchez Park at 1 o'clock for the rededication. Right now, the statue's all covered up because he wants it to be, unveil the whole thing. And it's very good. My only sad part is we'll have the most beautiful statue in town, tucked away in a neighborhood where not as many people will even know to drive by and look at it. So Public Works, our crew right now, they're working on putting up a small gazebo over there, and it'll have a couple picnic tables. That funding was also from the Sanchez family, as well as then some city funds. And so we're working with them to make that park extra special. And then we have, because of the aquatic center, you know, it raised a lot of emotions in people. And so we have a lady who worked very hard, her family, in getting the funding for the skate park. And apparently there were some comments made that the kids don't use the skate park. So she's organizing and working with city on the WOW games. Because they have the X Games, which is for skateboards and bicycles and tricks and things. So we're calling them the WOW Games. It'll be free for kids from 6 to 18 to be able to show us what they've got and be able to zip around in the skate park. And Kids Connection's going to do concessions, and they're really making a big deal out of it. So I think that's something fun that will continue to grow, because we'll be able to maximize on it. But that's going to be at the end of July on a Saturday, July the 26th. So got a lot of good things going on.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Gigi. Okay, council committee, city commission, and council reports. One of these days, Brad.
One,
Mr. Howard,
Other time.
Jason? Victor?
I don't have nothing.
I'll leave it all up to me, huh? Well, let me tell you a story. No. You know, I always say Monty's strong, and that's what I believe. Monty is strong. We keep coming together, things are changing, things are happening, got a lot of construction that is starting to happen. But always want to remind everybody, keep an eye out for your neighbor. Pay attention to what's going on in your neighborhood, because there's a lot of things going on in your neighborhood that shouldn't be. So with that, we will recess this meeting to June 19th at 6 p.m. here at council chambers. And everybody stay here for the work session. They're supposed to stay here for the work session. Thank you.
Gigi, are there any officers here still?